Hey, Todd, Toback here, and today's video is inspired by a question that I got from Jonathan out of Alabama. So, Jonathan, thank you so much for sending in your question. And Jonathan just got a fresh $22,000 check. So, first of all, congratulations, Jonathan. Thanks for letting me know about it. We're going to bump that up to $50,000 a deal here before you know it. But Jonathan asked me, hey, Todd, I just got my $22,000 check. What do I do with it? And this is a question that I get quite a bit. And I always like to dissect kind of the anatomy of the question before I answer it. And so the anatomy of the question really is, Todd, I'm not used to getting checks like this on a consistent basis. How do I handle this money? And so my goal for you, whether you're listening to this podcast or you're watching this on YouTube, is for you to have a consistent business that gives you cash month after month after month. Number one, so that you could have some peace at night, right? And then number two, so that you can live a life on your terms, right? Do the things that you want to do and not have money being a constricting factor. So with that in mind, here's what I want for you. That's if you're listening to my methods, right? Is that I want you to have predictable cash flow. Okay. Now, if you are listening to this and you're working out, or maybe you're driving, just say that word: predictable cash flow, predictable cash flow, predictable cash flow. That is the name of the game, because if you can predict cash flow, then you can grow cash flow, right? And then you know how much you're going to be making month after month after month. And then you can bring on team members, and then you can buy your time back, and then you can repeat the process. And then before you know it, you can have a business that's netting $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year, maybe even $1 million a year, and you're only working 10 or 15 hours a week. And that is a powerful business. So back to John's question. Jonathan's got a $22,000 pay check that he just came in from a deal. Here's my recommendation. Number one is you have to build a predictable marketing machine. Without leads, there is no business. I'll tell you a story. When I first got started in investing and I was successful in wholesaling, I would do random acts of marketing. We used to call that RAM. And I used to send out a bunch of marketing and then wait for the leads to come in, lock up a property. And then as soon as I closed my deal, I would then stick some back into marketing. And what that did was, it was stressful for me. It was stressful for my team, because we were always waiting. There was always a lag time between when we got deals and when I started that marketing, right? It was never predictable. There was like a bunch of deals, and then there was no leads, and then a bunch of deals, and then no leads. So here's what I would like you to do. Number one is you've got to put yourself on a salary. What do I mean by salary? You need to choose the minimum amount of money that you need to live on every single month, okay? And then put yourself on an automatic deposit from your bank account, right? So whether it's $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month or $5,000 a month or $6,000 a month, put yourself on that salary. Now, this is not how much money you're going to be making or taking home permanently, right? But what you want to do is create an environment where the amount that you pull out of your business on a regular basis is predictable. So for most people, depending if you got kids or if you're married, or if you're single, that's going to be anywhere between $3,000 and $8,000 a month, depending on your lifestyle. So for Jonathan here, look, I'm not really sure on how much money you've got in the bank, but I would, number one, put myself on a salary so that I know how much money I'm going to be bringing home personally every single month at a minimum. So I would do that. And the second thing I would do is I'm going to be sticking at a minimum 15% of my prior month's revenue into marketing. And so the name of the game in wholesaling is, how do you turn $1 into $5 at a minimum? So if you're trying to make, let's say next month, $50,000 at a minimum, you've got to be able to spend $7,500 a month in marketing, approximately. Now, if you don't have $7,500 in your bank account, what I would do is I'd work my way up. So right now you got $22,000 on a deal. I would throw $3,500 back into marketing at a minimum this month, so that you can keep your machine going. Now, I wouldn't throw it in all at once. If I was doing direct mail, I would break that into 4-week cycles. So let's just say it's 3,500. So I divide that by 4, and that's going to be about I don't know, 800 or 900, 800 to $900 a week. So that's what I would do. I'd spend $800 or $900 a week for the next 4 weeks. I'd put that into marketing, and I would drip it. Ready? I would drip, 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 drip. And I'm specifically talking about, in this case, it would be direct mail. And if I had that kind of budget, I probably would mail inheritance leads. So if you're not using inheritance leads, you can go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/inheritance, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/inheritance. And if you talk to Micah, who's the owner, make sure you tell him Todd Toback sent you, and he will give you actually some free leads, some older leads. Okay, and that's a topic for another day. But ask Micah what I mean by that when you talk to him. You want to get the current inheritance leads and the old inheritance leads and mail all of those. And again, it's drip, 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 drip. Now, when you send your mail out in a drip, what happens? Well, then your leads come in and they just drip consistently. You don't want a rush of leads. You want them to come in every single day consistently and hit those. Why? Because now you want to follow up with those leads consistently every single day, right? You don't want to go to extreme amount of leads and then none. And you don't want the extreme and then none. So you want to keep doing that. Now, over this next, let's just say 4 to 12 weeks, you want to bring in some more money. So obviously you have a database and you want to continue to work that database that you have. And so not only do you have your new marketing coming in, but now you want to pull money out of your old marketing. And this is going to increase your ROI. So maybe you could pull out a $40,000 deal from your database. Great, right? Now your bank account grows. You're still pulling out your salary. Now you can invest $6,000 into marketing. And now you're doing great, right? Drip, 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 drip. And guess what? Now your leads are coming in that way. You're following up that way. And now your income is now starting to mimic that marketing. So it's just so predictable. Boom, 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 boom. You got to keep track of it though. So I use a scorecard in my business where we track the amount of revenue that we brought in the past 4 weeks. We also measure the amount of marketing that we put in the last 4 weeks, and we have those line up. And again, at a minimum of 15%, that is the right number. If things are tight, you're going to have to scratch and claw your way to more revenue, but that's okay, right? You got to get yourself kind of out of the hole and kind of over the hump and build momentum. And once you do it, man, you will never, ever go back. You don't want to have this anxiety feeling, and I'll throw this in there, Jonathan, in terms of spending that money. You're not like in a hurry to spend it. Make sure you take a little bit to spend for yourself in terms of your salary and your living expenses, right? You don't want to be under financial pressure, and then stick some back into your marketing. And the rest is going to be in your bank account, right? And then if you want to stick more money back into the marketing, well, then pull some money out of the database and then obviously close another deal. And again, your marketing will be more predictable. Your deals will be predictable. Your cash flow will be more predictable. And also kind of your balance sheet, right? How much money you have in your bank account versus kind of all your debts. And I made a whole nother podcast on that. That's coming up. You'll see that, or I may have done it here in the past couple weeks, depending on the release schedule. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. Jonathan, thank you so much for sending that in. If that was clear, leave a comment on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, if it was unclear, also leave a comment. Love to hear from you, and I will talk to you on the next episode.